story about the years gone by, how he played his horn down in New Orleans in some old dingy dive. I knew 'em all back then, he said, as he reached out for his horn. He closed his eyes and wet his lips, and then the blues were born. He played with so much feeling, tears came from his eyes. He stopped and reminisced a bit, and then he gave a sigh. Said, you know, I almost made it, but that's before your time. Dixieland, poor folks blue, Scatman Jackson's wine. Slapped his knee and gave a grin. It sure was good back then, reaching for his home on the floor. Placed it in an old toe sack that hung across his back. He said goodbye, then shuffled out the door. Enthused by what he told me, I never got his name, so I called the waitress over and started to explain. A tired old man, his tarnished horn, and memories of years gone by, how he played his horn and reminisced and smiled with tear-dimmed eyes. She said, you are mistaken, there's been no one but you, but I know who you're talking about. I used to know him too. You'll find him down on Basin Street in back of an old churchyard, a stone that reads, rest in peace. I tried, but it sure was hard. Slapped his knee and gave a grin. It sure was good back then, reaching for his horn on the floor. Placed it in an old toe sack that hung across his back. He said goodbye, then shuffled out the door. He said goodbye, then shuffled out the door. The old man told his story about the years gone by, how he played his horn down in New Orleans in some old dingy dive.
This song right here is incredible on so many levels. Right off the top, this is a story song about a story that the old man told him. Genius.
He played with so much feeling, tears came from his eyes. He stopped and reminisced a bit, and then he gave a sigh. Said, you know, I almost made it, but that's before your time. Dixieland, poor folks blue, Scatman Jackson's wine. Slapped his knee and gave a grin. It sure was good back then. Reaching for his horn on the floor, placed it in an old toe sack that hung across his back. He said goodbye, then shuffled out the door.
How could you listen to this song and not close your eyes and soak it all in? Where do I begin? Where do I begin? I'm going to begin with a sip of coffee. I could begin with that beautiful alto sax. Could begin there. Or I could begin with Mr. Watson's iconic voice and delivery here. That alone in itself is worth a reaction. I could start with the story, the age-old story of the aging musician and his instrument, where he finds comfort. It's been with him almost from the very beginning. I could start there. We could talk about him, the old man, almost making it. We could delve into whether or not that horn was handed down to him by his pops or an uncle. I could sit here and talk about the production and how incredibly infectious it is. I could go on and on about Mr. Watson's voice and his melodic tones. I could. We could talk about what an outstanding piece of work this is. I mean, I only had to hear it once, and I appreciate its significance. We could go there, but I think for now, I'm gonna sit back, play it again, close my eyes, and just soak it all in.